Last game, Ravens-Dolphins. This is Thursday Night Football's game. The Ravens end up winning 28-6. It was Chris Greer's last game as the general manager for the Miami Dolphins, as they have mutually agreed to part ways. Sure. The Baltimore Ravens, their top 5 graded players. Safety, Malachi Starks, look at that, top of the list. Love to see that. 91.2 overall grade. Had an interception in this one. Defensive tackle Travis Jones, an 89.6. Tight end Charlie Kohler, an 86.1. Tight end Isaiah Likely, an 84.1. Safety Kyle Hamilton, an 81.0. Lamar Jackson, an 87.8 in his return to the starting lineup here. On Miami side of things, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, an 84.2. Safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, a 75.2. Offensive tackle Patrick Paul, a 71.9. Center Aaron Brewer, a 70.5, and then cornerback Rasul Douglas, a 70.2. Tua Tagovailoa in this game, a 68.1. What was your stats that told the story here for Thursday Night Football?
So I got some splits on the way that Todd Monken called this game, because similar to what I talked about before with the Bills and the Chiefs and reading the fronts and the personnel, it was more so the fronts than the personnel in this game for Todd Monken. It looked pretty clear to me early with Lamar Jackson coming back that he was trying to just run some basics in their offense just to kind of get his feet back wet, get him back in a rhythm after missing a few weeks, which makes a lot of sense, right? Mm-hmm. You want to get your quarterback a little bit comfortable. As the game moved on, what they were doing was really reading out kind of a similar vibe, whether the Dolphins had either 4 or 5 defensive linemen on the field. Because on early downs, they were going with 5 a lot, because what do you want to do against the Ravens? You want to stop the run, right? It's Derrick Henry. It's still Lamar Jackson. Even if he wasn't quite 100%, I don't know if he was 100% in this game. It was times it looked like he wasn't quite full speed, but it was good enough to play. So when the Dolphins had 4 or fewer defensive linemen, whether they were lighter fronts up front, the Ravens had 9.4 yards per carry and only 6.9 yards per pass. Makes sense. 7 in the back end in coverage, all of that. When there was 5 or more defensive linemen out there, Dolphins had the right idea. Only 3 yards per carry, but they weren't prepared in coverage. 12.6 yards per attempt for Lamar Jackson. I just think Todd Monken, once he got by the first, I'd say 3 or 4 drives, and he really started reading out, okay, what do I need to do to beat this team? And Lamar was excellent in play action as well. That's really where they hurt the Dolphins the most, was when they were in those 5 down fronts in early downs, and they went to play action on early down, especially from under center. That's when Jackson really hurt him all night. I thought Todd Monken did an absolutely awesome job after just kind of getting Lamar's feet wet, then going, okay, here's how we beat this team, and they did it pretty soundly.
The reason why I was really excited about Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, not that that's anything new, but I remember when he was the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back when I was covering the team as a beat reporter in 2017, 2018. And they had O.J. Howard and they had Cam Brate during that time. And they really loved using that 2 tight end system. And Todd Monken was very willing to go to that, get both of those guys involved. Those are the offenses where Jameis Winston was throwing it all over the place, and they were scoring a ton of points, ton of yards, everything. And I feel as though that's where the Ravens are really leaning here this season when they're at their best, is that tight end passing game. And we saw Charlie Kohler and Isaiah Likely, and we didn't see Mark Andrews on there, but like Mark Andrews when he's in the fold. Lamar Jackson in this game, he was 6 for 6 for 70 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns to tight ends. 95.4 passing grade when he was targeting tight ends, as well as when they were the primary read. So not even like security blanket, things are falling apart, where's the tight end? There he is. Primary read tight end passing concepts. He's playing very, very well. He's very, very confident throwing to those tight ends, and I think that that's when the Baltimore Ravens are at their best. And I don't think that the Dolphins had any answers for it. Very clearly, they didn't when you have passing grades that are like that. So I love the tight end passing game here for the Baltimore Ravens. I think that is the key to the offense moving forward as Lamar Jackson gets more healthy, as they go through a little bit more of a weaker part of their schedule, as they climb back in that playoff race. They're going to be doing that through the tight ends, I believe.
No, absolutely. I mean, Mark Andrews, good to see Isaiah Likely really have his first big game of the year. And don't forget about the third guy there, Charlie Kohler, catching a touchdown, too. That's a valuable player for them as well. Plus, getting Patrick Ricard back healthy recently really helps the run game as well. This is just what the Ravens offense is supposed to look like. They can run the football against certain fronts when they want to. The 3 tight ends, all 3 of them are good. A whole lot of Zay Flowers on the outside as well. This was kind of the ideal Thursday night here in Lamar Jackson's first game back for the Ravens to have offensively and defensively as well. They were really darn good in this game too.
Most impressive and disappointing?
I'm going to go with the Ravens, just that safety group. We talked about recently Kyle Hamilton moving down into the box. Why does their run defense look a little bit better lately? Because Kyle Hamilton's basically serving as their third linebacker. He was all over the place. Malachi Starks with the breakout game, the interception on the Ravens' last defensive play of the game. And credit to, not a guy in the top 5, I believe his grade was in the high 60s. Alohi Gilman coming in there off the trade, learning a new system, playing free safety back there so Kyle Hamilton can act as that big nickel or strong safety, whatever you want to call him. That group of safeties, as it did last year with Ardarius Washington in a different way, that group of safeties right now is they're creating a little bit of a defensive revival for Baltimore. Both sides of the ball were really good in this game, and that's what makes you really encouraged. You go, okay, maybe they can claw their way back into this thing. It's not just Lamar Jackson. The defense had to be better, too, and they were outstanding in this game.
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton, 42 snaps as either a slot corner, so like a left or right corner, or as a left or right outside linebacker. You talked a couple of weeks ago about them getting him close to the line of scrimmage and just letting him be a focal point of their run defense and just being a bonus when it comes to that point of attack. And he's been fantastic at that since they've moved him a lot closer to the line of scrimmage, and he was still impressive in this game. I think they're going to continue to do that moving forward. So that is he was my most impressive there as well. I know you mentioned Malachi Starks too, but Kyle Hamilton and just the way that they are using him is the most impressive. Most disappointing, I feel like, is just the Chris Greer era, the Mike McDaniel era in Miami. I feel like we're getting close to the end here. Greer is no longer there. McDaniel, it seems like, is going to coach the rest of the season, but I don't know how much confidence he is going to have for another year after this. It feels like they're going to move on there. I wonder if we're getting to the point where Tua Tagovailoa is going to become sort of like the next Russell Wilson in just buying out his contract and then moving on from him. The drafts have not been good enough for this team. I think it was really good for them to get a third-round pick for Jalen Phillips. I'm not going to lie. I think Jalen Phillips is a very talented edge rusher, but come on, he's had 2 major lower body injuries over the last 2 years on the last year of his contract. You weren't about to pay that guy. Why would you? And so you move on from him and you get a third-round pick for it? That's
smart stuff.
I think that's excellent return for the Miami Dolphins, who were going nowhere this year, and they were not going to re-sign Jalen Phillips.
And we could see if there's more coming, if it's a Bradley Chubb. There's been rumors on Jalen Waddle, but I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think that's coming. I mean, to dish some of these veteran players, and they've been preparing the salary cap for future years, getting rid of Ramsey to get Minkah Fitzpatrick back as kind of a rental player, and he could get traded in the next 24 hours. Also, there's been rumors about that. Somebody I would think would find him, somebody who needs a safety would find him valuable as well. I think you're seeing the teardown in real time with the Dolphins, right? Mm-hmm. McDaniel, I wouldn't expect McDaniel to be there next year. And look, I think he'll get an OC job pretty quickly. I still think he's a darn good offensive play caller.
I think so too.
The time has run its course with this team. And then whoever comes in here, then it's the Tua decision of, do we do this right away? Do we ride out the one more year on the contract where it really hurts our cap? How do we go about this? And that might depend on how much they like this very strange quarterback class coming up to me in this upcoming draft.
Right. Yeah, I wonder if the conversation with Miami is going to be, with the head coach coming in, like, hey, what's your plan with Tua? Because we're not moving on from him. Like, you better give me a good answer of what you have to fix this guy and make him a viable quarterback, because I wonder if that's now I don't know if that's going to matter, changing the system, having them do something different, but I wonder if that's going to be the conversation, like with the owner, is I'm not cutting him. Like, we're not giving him all this dead money, so you better come into a head coaching interview with a good plan for what you're going to do with Tua.
Well, it's either a good plan with Tua, or is it could even be a decision that goes into March and April of, is there anybody we really like in this draft? Or you have to pay the dead money, either pay him next year or pay the dead money for 2026 anyway when it's heavy. You go, okay, we'll stall with him for one more year, and then see if maybe there's a certain guy there at Ohio State that we might be able to get, or something like that. Julian's saying, good player, find him. Look, I mean, they're in the middle of a teardown, and we're just watching it one step at a time.